Here's a number I want you to sit with for a second. If you're a physician earning $400,000 a year and you're in the top federal tax bracket, you're handing the IRS 37 cents out of every dollar you earn above a certain threshold. 37%. Federal loan, before state taxes, before payroll taxes. And here's what makes even more frustrating. You probably own real estate, or you've thought about it. Specifically because real estate generates tax losses, paper losses from depreciation. But then you find out the IRS has a rule that says those real estate losses are passive, and passive losses can only offset passive income. Not your clinical salary, not your W-2, not your 1099. So all of those depreciation deductions you were counting on, for most physicians, they're locked in a box, carried forward, useless against the income you actually earn, unless you know about real estate professional status. In the next 8 minutes, I'm going to explain exactly what real estate professional status is, who qualifies, how the math works, and critically, the two most realistic paths for physician households to actually use it. This is not a loophole. This is written directly into the US tax code. And once you understand it, you'll never look at your tax return the same way again. Let's go. Before we talk about the solution, you need to understand the problem at a deeper level. Back in 1986, Congress passed the Tax Reform Act. And inside that act, they added a section of the tax code called the IRC Section 469, the Passive Activity Loss Rules. Here's what those rules say in plain English. If you own rental real estate, the IRS automatically considers it a passive activity. It doesn't matter if you're deeply involved. It doesn't matter if you're making decisions every week. By default, rental real estate is passive. And passive losses can only offset passive income. So if your rental property generates a $50,000 paper loss from depreciation, which is very common, especially when you use cost segregation, you cannot use that loss to reduce your clinical salary. It just sits there, suspended, carried forward to a future year when you have passive income to offset it, or until you sell the property. Now, the IRS does offer a small exception. If your income is below $100,000, you can deduct up to $25,000 in rental losses against your active income. But that exception phases out completely once your income hits $150,000. And if you're watching this video, your income is almost certainly above $150,000. So that exception, it doesn't apply to you. Here's the reframe I want you to hold on to. The problem isn't that real estate doesn't generate tax benefits. It absolutely does. The problem is that the default rules prevent high-income earners from accessing those benefits against their primary income. Real estate professional status, REPS, is the mechanism that changes that. When you or your spouse qualifies as a real estate professional under the tax code, your rental real estate losses are reclassified. They move from passive to non-passive, and non-passive losses can offset any income, including your W-2, your 1099, your clinical salary. That is the entire game. So how do you actually qualify? According to the IRS, specifically IRC Section 469 and Publication 925, there are two requirements. Both must be met every single year. Requirement 1, more than 750 hours. You must perform more than 750 hours of services in real property trades or businesses in which you materially participate during the tax year. That's roughly 15 hours a week, every week for the full year. What counts? Important question. Managing properties, overseeing renovations, coordinating with tenants, handling leases, working as a real estate agent or a broker, actively operating real estate in a meaningful, documented way. What does not count? Reading books about real estate, browsing listings or Zillow, attending seminars, and critically, time you spend as a passive investor in syndications does not count. You have to be actively working in real estate for those hours to qualify. Requirement 2, more than half of your total working time. Now, That is the one that stops most physicians cold. The real estate hours have to represent more than half of all the personal services you perform in any trade or business that year. So if you work 2,000 hours practicing medicine, which is about 40 hours a week, you would need to work more than 2,000 hours in real estate to qualify. And that's nearly impossible for a full-time clinician. And according to White Coat Investor, the average physician works about 50 hours per week. That's roughly about 2,500 hours a year in medicine alone. To qualify as a real estate professional yourself, you need to outwork that in real estate. That math simply does not work for most full-time doctors. But here's where it gets very interesting. If you are married and you file jointly, only one spouse needs to qualify. Your spouse does not need to be a physician. Your spouse does not need any professional license. They just need to meet those two requirements, 750 hours and more time in real estate than any other job. If your spouse is not working full-time in another career, this becomes very achievable. They manage properties, they coordinate the contractors, they handle the leasing, oversee renovations, and they log those hours carefully and in real time. That means real time. It's not a spreadsheet reconstructed in April in a hurry from memory. Real logs made at the time that the work happens. And when they qualify, the household qualifies. If you file jointly and suddenly your real estate losses become non-passive. They can offset your clinical income. Now let me show you what that actually looks like in dollars. Let's say your spouse qualifies as a real estate professional. You purchase a $1 million rental property. After allocating roughly $200,000 to land, which can't be depreciated, you have an $800,000 depreciable basis. Without any special strategy, you depreciate that building over 27.5 years. That's roughly $29,000 per year in depreciation. Helpful, but not dramatic. Now add a cost segregation study. And according to KBKG, a leading tax consulting firm, a cost seg study breaks that property into its different components. Think flooring, appliances, cabinets, landscape, so on, so forth. These depreciate over 5, 7, or 15 years instead of the 27.5. And with bonus depreciation, a significant portion of those components can be deducted in year 1. White Coat Investor has published an example where a doctor buys a $1 million short-term rental and after a cost seg study front loads $400,000 or more in year 1 in deductions. If your household is in the 37% federal tax bracket, a $400,000 deduction translates to $148,000 in federal tax savings in a single year. Same property, same purchase price, completely different tax outcome because of the status and having a strategy. Now, let me address the concerns I know you're already thinking about because they're real. Concern 1, my spouse doesn't want to manage properties full-time. And that's totally fair. And here's the good news. You don't need to own dozens of properties. Even 2 or 3 well-selected properties actively managed can generate enough qualifying hours. The key is that the management is real, legitimate, documented, and substantial. Many spouses who go down this route find that it actually becomes a meaningful part-time career in its own right, with real financial results. Concern 2, what if we get audited? This is the most important practical point of this entire video. The IRS does audit real estate professional status claims, and the number one reason claims get denied is poor documentation. You cannot reconstruct your hours after the fact. The IRS looks for what they call real-time logs, records that are made at the time that the work happened. If you hand an auditor a spreadsheet that was clearly created in March in a frantic hurry to cover the prior year, they will reject it. You need daily logs, timestamp records, notes on what work was done, how long it took, and for which property. BiggerPockets has covered this extensively. The documentation standard is very high, but if you meet it, the deduction is solid. Work with a real estate CPA or tax attorney who understands this area of the tax code. This is not a TurboTax do-it-yourself situation. Concern 3, what if neither of us can qualify for this status? Then there's a second path worth knowing about, the short-term rental strategy. If your average rental duration is 7 days or less, and you materially participate in managing that property, the IRS does not classify it as a rental activity under the passive loss rules. So what that means is that those losses, including accelerated depreciation from a cost seg study, can offset your active income even without the real estate professional status. The material participation threshold for short terms is actually a lot lower. You need roughly 100 hours of participation, and no one else can spend more hours than you on that property. Very important. You can still work full-time as a physician and meet this threshold. It's a different path to the same destination. And for many physician households, it's actually the more accessible one. Here's the picture I want you to hold in your mind. Imagine 5 years from now, your household has qualified for real estate professional status. You've purchased 2 or 3 properties. You've done cost seg studies on each one. Every year, those paper losses have been flowing directly against your clinical income, reducing your taxable income by hundreds of thousands of dollars over that time period. Money that would have gone to the IRS instead has been reinvested into exactly more assets, more properties, more passive income, more financial freedom. That's not a far-fetched fantasy. That's the math of a well-executed strategy built on real tax code, real documentation, and real professional guidance. Here's your challenge this week. Have one conversation. Call your CPA and ask them directly, am I or could my spouse be a candidate for real estate professional status? And if they don't know what that is, that's actually important information too. You may need a CPA who specializes in real estate investors. And when you're ready to go deeper, head over to www.cardiarei.com. There you can download 2 free ebooks I've written myself specifically for you and for people who want to understand this a little better from the ground up. It's clear, practical, no fluff information. And we also have a free 9-part passive investing action guide that comes with those 2 books. And that's where I walk you through the exact framework that experienced investors use to build long-term passive, tax-efficient wealth through real estate. So we cover everything from strategy to how to vet operators and how to build a portfolio. It's the information I wish I would have had on day 1 that I put into that. Look out for the next video where we're going to go ahead and cover even more detail about other tax efficient vehicles. See you in the next one.